Hey y'all, Sunday afternoon. Hope y'all had a good weekend and celebrating and worshiping this morning and in your faith. And we're just getting ready for another little cold snap. It's winter in Texas, otherwise known as February. It's about the time you get things sorted out and think you're ready to plant and do this. And the old weather and the good Lord said, oh yeah, watch this. Can't plant yet. I was looking at these old lilies. Of course, y'all know the verse, a lot of you do, about considering the lilies. But those old things don't worry much about the weather. They're going to bloom right on about this time every year. They just pop up all over the yard. Well, y'all sound off where you're at. We'll do a little roll call here in a minute. I'm just going to jump on for a few minutes as we get ready for some 20-degree weather down this way. It was 70, almost 72 degrees yesterday. Today it's woke up to about 37 degrees, being the 20s by midweek. They had some more rain. We got the old onions covered, so they'll fare well. That's the only thing I've got in the ground. I'm headed out here to get the seed potatoes that should have went in on around Valentine's Day, but we're going to have to hold off a little bit until we get past some of these severe cold snaps. But I had them out here drying, or not drying, but call them scoring them off, and had to cut them up and get them ready to plant. We're putting them in the house because they got enough moisture in them that they'll freeze sure with this cold snap coming. It won't be no good for planting, so that won't be no good for us, all right? We'll have to buy our French fries. Lord of mercy, I sure don't want to have to do that at the store. I waiting on the Amazon truck for the red carpet for these chickens. They got gold out there in that chicken house these days. I guess I ought to get a red carpet of some kind. I hadn't told them they're worth more, so maybe they won't bug me about it. I wanted my garlic in the ground by now, but can't do that either. But there'll be a time for planting soon. Did y'all have a good week? Here we are barreling toward the end of February already, 2 months into the year. I was thinking about them old grocery prices, and I remember a story a while back, and a lot of folks are struggling right now to make all the ends meet. We'll walk up here a minute, I guess. Look at this old teal ground that didn't wash off. But those that may not have the means to keep things plentiful on the table like times past. Tell of a young lady named Louise Brown walked into her little country grocer there that she traded with along the way, and she'd kind of been on hard times. Her husband was ill, couldn't work, and kiddos were hungry, so she went to him with her humble spirit and asked the old grocer if there's any way she could get her bill of groceries on credit. She'd pay him sure, but just didn't have it that evening, and kids were hungry. Well, he's a nice enough man, but he said, no, ma'am, I got too much credit floating around, and you don't have an account with me, can't charge. Well, she pleaded with him a little bit. He shook his head no there at the register, and she didn't know what she was going to do. Well, a customer overheard this and spoke to the grocer and said, sir, whatever she needs today, I'll cover the bill. Well, that disgusted the grocer and kind of made him a little embarrassed. So he said, I tell you what, you got a list? She said, well, I know what I need. She said, well, you write it down on a list and stick it up here on the scale on that piece of paper. And he thought he was going to be smart. And whatever will balance with that piece of paper, I'll let you have. He thought he'd really get one over. So she said, okay. So she took a little piece of paper out of her purse and borrowed a pen, scribbled a little note on it, and bowed her head and stuck it on that scale. To the grocer's disbelief, the scale dropped to the counter. Balance weighed. Well, she began to get groceries from around the store that she needed to feed the kiddos and the sick husband at home, and kept piling it on the other side of that scale and kept piling it on the other side of that scale, and it just wouldn't balance. That little piece of paper was holding more weight. Well, finally, it balanced out after she had a pretty good sack of groceries there. And the grocer just discussed it. So, well, I load it up and take it, I guess. And she thanked the man. And he said, wait a second, what did you write on that piece of paper? He picked it up off the scale and looked at it. He said, I can't believe it. Simply said, Lord, I don't have the way to make the way. You know my need. I'm just going to leave it in your hands. Simple little prayer wrote on that piece of paper that balanced for groceries. Well, she left the store, and the other gentleman standing there that offered to pay for it, he felt bad for the grocery. He said, man, that's worth everything. Here's the money to pay that lady's bill. The grocer just couldn't believe it. Funny how God will work in random ways. Some of you may think that's a bunch of hogwash, but truth be told, a little bit later that day, the grocer found that the scale had broken. But it served a purpose for that lady in need at that moment, didn't it? God will help you along the way. You know, a lot of folks that turn their nose up at stuff like that, maybe even a relationship with Christ. I heard the pastor say it, and I reckon it's the gospel truth, literally. You're not going to go to hell because of what you did. You're probably going to go to hell because you rejected Jesus, right? He paid for every single sin could ever be committed on that cross. You just have to accept it, right? I was thinking about Grace a few weeks ago. Jordan living here with me. We're two peas in the pod, good buddies, but still a father and son thing comes along the way. And he did something in his youthfulness, nothing major, just a goofball thing that he didn't tell me about. I found out about it, and he knew he was in the wrong, not coming to me about it. Well, I got on to him pretty good. I'm a fallible man as well, and jawed him up down pretty good about it. And so we were at an impasse for a few days. But I just was a little upset that he didn't tell me about it. You know, I could have helped him when he'd have just came to me. Well, 2 or 3 days of the passing through the house and kind of silent treatment. Y'all know how it is if you got kids or even spouses. Finally, he came up to me, and I guess it's a couple of days later, said, Dad, I'm sorry. I said, son, we're good, man. It's all, I forgave you the minute you told me about it. It wasn't a big deal. He looked at me with disbelief, thinking, man, for 2 days I've been sweating bullets, and you'd already forgiven me. I said, yes, sir. That's what love is. And that's how a father takes care of his children, isn't it? Goodness, how much more is our Heavenly Father ready to stand and forgive us? He really already has. He just wants us to accept it, doesn't he? Hope those that hadn't come to know him will find that light. Do a little research on yourself. Go to the good book. His mercy is sufficient. There's a difference, though, in mercy and grace. I think a lot of y'all know that. Maybe you don't. But it's similar. But mercy would be like if you'd got pulled over speeding, doing none of your business in the 35, an officer come up there and you pleaded your case to him, and he felt a little pity on you and had every right to give you a ticket. You'd broke the law. He decided to give you a warning, send you on your way with just a little reprimand verbally. Well, that's mercy. You earned that ticket, good and proper. But he had mercy on you, decided not to penalize you with it. Grace, on the other hand, well, that's something we can't earn. Ain't nothing we can do at all to earn that grace. All we have to do is accept it. There's no way we'd ever be good enough to get the grace that the Lord gave us on that cross. Right? Well, I guess I need to keep walking. That old vulture's doing circles. I guess I got something dead up here I'm not aware of. I know it ain't no critter of mine, because head count came back right the last few days. You know it. That's just how it is. This whole big old garden, we've had trouble in years past with a big washout after tilling this early, as you have to do to kind of break up those roots in that grass. But we got ahead of it a couple of years ago and put a little drainage draw up here, and it appears to be working this year. Got about 3 or 4 inches of rain the last few days, last week, and everything's holding, ready to get it broke under a couple more times and set rows and get some produce to going. I was looking at these old weeds that we buried underneath there. Always, I think about goofy stuff sometimes. I guess it really don't make no mind, but somebody dies, we say they passed away. What in the world is that, passed away? Well, they're still there. There's no life in them. There's no power in them. They can't do anything, but the old body's still there, so technically they ain't went nowhere, but wherever we put them. That's kind of like these old weeds, though. They didn't pass away. We turned them under, broke up the ground, and got a little sunlight on it. Got those weeds buried. The weeds are still there. They don't have the power that they had. They'll decay and become nutrients of sort in that dirt as time comes for nutrients to be called upon to grow these vegetables. Now, we got to stay diligent, and there won't be as many of them as there would have been because we got it tilled up. But if we don't mind our rows and our fruiting crops, they'll creep up in amongst them until those crops get strong enough and big enough to take in enough light to drown them out with their own shade. Right? You already know where I'm going with that, don't you? Well, weeds are like the mistakes in my life that I've done. Let it grow up in my spiritual walk, drown it out, and overshadow the good fruit. Maybe it's angry, road rage, or something along that line, or harboring a little disgust, or I hate to say hate. I've never hated anybody, but dislike of someone, maybe not living right. Them old weeds, they get so high you can't see if there's a little old tomato plant down there or not. Eventually it kills it. If you'll turn it under and tend to it, it won't go away. It's still there. It's still part of your past, but it has no power anymore. Right? That light exposes it. You nurture the good stuff. It pops up out of the ground. That one's my newest rogue here on the place. But it'll pop up out of the ground, and that corn or peas or whatever, after about 2 weeks of rowing and hoeing the weeds, and big old good plants will overshadow the remnants of the bad stuff. That's that little goat that's got the blue eyes that was born on Thanksgiving Day, 2024. They're doing well. They're plenty healthy. They're living in the backyard, but this one has found a way to get over it. She's like the other bottle feeders, whatever you say. They want to be wherever I'm at, so she found her way. Now, when I go back in the house, she'll jump right back over the fence and get in the pen. Yep, she wants to be with her sister. Her sister hadn't quite figured out how to get over, and that's a good thing. Well, let me do a quick little roll call, and we'll call it an evening. We got some chores still to do ahead of this little old cold snap coming. But I've got a seed room in there, lots of tomato plants, and I'm not going to walk. Well, that's the cat. I didn't want to walk up to the front of the house with this baby. She don't need to learn that side of it. But no, we're getting ready. Seedlings are starting to come up. That house is a consistent temperature. In fact, it was hotter in there than it was outside yesterday. It was hotter outside than it was in there the other morning. I didn't even know what temperature it was outside. It had been cold the day before. And I took and had my cup of coffee, walked out on the porch. That heater just going in that house. And walked into 70-degree weather. I'm like, my goodness, when did this happen? And then we're back to cold today. So that's Texas. It's all right. You gonna get on the gooseneck? Randy gonna come over here and haul you off if you don't watch it. Yeah, that's right. Well, let me see who all's on here. The puppies are hollering. They're all doing well. It's ready for spring. Headed that way for sure. Let me flip around here and see who all's on tonight. Thank y'all for all the support y'all done with subscriptions, and I'm still mind blown at the growth of just walking around an old pasture, right? Glad to see that sun. It's been pretty gloomy around here the last few weeks with all the rain. I may can do this in this bright weather without my spectacles. We're going to go back and see who all's on here. If I don't catch you live, I'll catch you after the fact. And always enjoy seeing all the people saying howdy. There's Miss Sue Straub, one of our subscribers. Howdy from Kansas City, Missouri. Well, goodness, my eyes are looking good today. I can see y'all. Amazing what a little light will do. They're right. Let's see who else is on here. My good friend Donna Wells down Huntsville, Texas way. Wild man. I always expect that comment if she jumps on. Good to see you, ma'am. Hope you're well. Let's see here. Thank you, Bree, for that. I appreciate those stars. Since you sent them, I'll talk about it. We're still going to paint this house. We're waiting on the weather. And, man, I'm having to employ a few family members come over here and write. But we're going to have scriptures written all over that bare wood before we go to painting it again. And I am so looking forward to that project. That's going to be a good day. I'm sure I'll stream it live or something while we're writing those, and then keep a record of it. Send it to those of you that have sent stars and subscribers. Just be a part of that old 100-year-old wood on that house. Yeah, it's going to be neat stuff. Well, I'm daydreaming. Let me move on. Oh, let's see who else is on here. Randy Edwards. Nice to catch you. He says, pray you and yours are well. Thank you. Yeah, weather's going to come and go. We just have to learn to bob and weave with it, don't we? Thank you for that. Let's see who else is on here. I got a goat nibbling on my rubber boots, y'all. Let's see, that might be better than me looking at my little mug. But let's see, we got, look this, talk about a menagerie. There's a chicken, a black cat, a camo cat, and a goat next to the old well. Next to the, that goat's about to find out what a chicken is. That rooster didn't have none of that little, I see you. You're going to show out. Okay. You're going to show out. All right. I got to read these comments now. Quit chewing on my boots. Let's see who else here. We'll let y'all watch the goat critter while I'm reading comments. Let's see. There is Ralph. Help. I got to do it. I'm putting on my glasses. If I don't, I'm not going to be able to read it as quick as I can. Excuse me, y'all. All right. There we go. That's better. Good to hear from you again. Thanks for Washboard. You bet. Thank you for supporting. Where'd they go? Oh, there he is. She is. We'll just watch the chicken, I guess. Frida said, I've had a few broken scales in my life. Thank God for his amazing grace. Boy, ain't that the truth. Glenda's checking in from Eclectic, Alabama. That's a cool name for a town. Kind of describes my taste in music. Ralph's from Manheim, Pennsylvania, he says. Good to see y'all checking in. Miss Arlene Green's watching. I had to call her out. She sent me a nice little plaque that I shared last night. And that was a treat. Got the Farmer's Creed on it, so I hung that in the entryway there. There's Trish Maddox. True words, stand by, trust in the glory of God. That's right. Let's see here. I'm still scrolling, y'all. Yes, it is a beautiful day here. And we got critters everywhere. The big goats are quiet because they've been fed. Otherwise, they'd be hollering at me, too. I think I've just about got everybody that's going to sound off. Let's see. I'm looking. Oh, how's Samson, Ruby, and Pearl doing? Not sure what you named that. I haven't named that other one yet. Samson and Ruby are doing good. They're approaching 12 weeks and getting ready to pack up and go to their forever homes. But they're big old fur balls over there. I think they're bedded down in that igloo as it's getting a little cooler today. But I got a little rogue goat that needs to find her way back in there before she finds her way to the front. So I might have to jump off here, and I'll catch up with the comments shortly. Come on, baby. Go. Let's go. No, don't chew my ear. You got to go back here. Come on. Oh, something else. Ain't you something? Little old blue-eyed thing. You're getting heavy is what you're getting. I know it. Well, y'all, I better let you go. Y'all have a good evening. Be the light, and hope y'all have a good week. We'll try to check in real soon, later this week, even if it is 20 degrees. Talk to you later.